Your best choice. BEFM 부산영어방송.
9년 전 한국에서의 새로운 출발을 위해 부산을 처음 찾은 프랭크. 부산의 자연과 사람, 부산에서 누리는 모든 것을 사랑하는 그는 부산의 변함없는 한대에 늘 감탄합니다.
I think that Busan people are actually very, very kind and very welcoming. If I seemed a little lost, there was always someone that was there to ask me if I needed help. They're more seriously friendly than it's very serious. I very seriously want to help you.
부산의 한결같은 모습도 늘 감동을 주지만 이제는 부산의 미래를 꿈꾸며 2030년 부산의 새로운 도약을 기대합니다.
Busan people are very proud of their city. They want to share the city with everyone. If we get the World Expo, it'll really put Busan on a global map.
세계 박람회가 어울리는 도시, 미래를 향한 힘찬 도약. 부산에서 출발한 파도는 이미 세계를 향해 뻗어 나가고 있습니다. 2030 부산 세계 박람회. 부산이 시작하고 대한민국이 함께 이뤄갑니다. 이 캠페인은 지역과 함께하는 든든한 동반자 BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Coming up next is Inside Out Busan with Min-Soo Shin. BEFM 부산영어방송.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is Inside Out Busan, and I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. Today, October 31st, the last day of the month. Now, many of you, I'm pretty sure, have been reminded throughout the day that today is Halloween, right? Well, it's not just only Halloween. It also happens to be World Savings Day, 세계 저축의 날이기도 합니다. So this special day is aimed at promoting the habit of saving for a better future, not just for an individual, but for a whole society. Now, it sounds, classic, classy. It just sounds great, right? Saving money. But, this kind of gives you a way out of uncertainties, just the practice of saving money. So things you could keep in mind on World Savings Day, I don't know, limiting your credit card usage, creating a budget for your savings. We all want to get off on the right foot, right?
Myself after the last romance that I wouldn't give it a second chance. They say if you seek you're sure to find, and I know how true that is, 'cause the closer I get to you, baby, yeah, you're driving me clean out of my mind. I say save me, somebody save me, anybody save me, somebody save me. Those who love always give the most. We're crying together from coast to coast, 'cause love makes me cold and hurt inside. These tears of mine so justified, begging you to save me. Hey Lord, somebody save me. Coast. Now it's me cold and hurt inside. These tears of mine are justified. You never said you needed me. You abused my love so much trouble. I don't know what to do. Yeah, if you think anything about me, if you love me at all, yeah, if you love me at all, please now, please now, please now, please now. I'll say save me.
And that was Nina Simone to kickstart our show with Save Me. Welcome, everybody. This is Inside Up Busan here at BFM 90.5 if you're in the Busan area, 103.3 if you're in Kijang, Cheongwan, or Noksan. I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. Happy Tuesday evening to everybody. I do hope today was a swell day for you. Now, many of you probably have come to realize today, October 31st, the last day of the month, usually means it's Halloween, but there's another special day that falls on October 31st. It happens to be World Savings Day. 오늘이 세계 저축의 날이기도 합니다. So, a question for you, maybe experts when it comes to just finance, right? Is it better to save or invest? Tough question, because a lot of you might be thinking, well, investing is savings, but at the same time, you also make a lot of money, right? So investing is the way to go. I mean, I'm not saying, one's correct and one's wrong. It's your choice to partake in either, or both at the same time. But most people say that savings should come first. So why should saving come before investing or any other type of, like you put, I guess any other kind of investment, you putting your money into something else, right? Well, savings supposedly gives you a peace of mind. Supposedly, it does for sure. From my experience, having money in your account and you know that it's not going anywhere, I don't know, makes me feel comfortable. It also expands your options for decisions that have a major effect on your quality of life. Things like buying a house, buying a car, maybe, right? Most of you would probably do that with your savings involved to a good amount. And savings eventually gives you an option to retire. These days, I think just the lack of savings for a lot of people because, once again, the economy is tough, right? The lack of savings doesn't really allow people to retire. That's why they work into, old age. They start a business after, their companies require them to retire. Around 3 in 4, so it's like 74%. Now, this is not in Korea. U.S. adults, they say they have financial regret, according to a survey. Now, most commonly, Americans regret not saving for retirement early enough. That's around 21% mentioned that. Taking on too much credit card debt, 15% said that they mentioned that. Or not saving enough for emergency expenses for a rainy day, right? 14% said this. So especially for young adults, as they are entering into the workforce, the initial financial step is to save money, apart from rent, food, and other stuff that you need. Everything that's left, you put it into savings. That's what experts are suggesting. So they suggest that putting aside 20 to 30% of your income as mandatory savings, this could help you resist spending temptations. 재테크 1단계는 저축이죠. 적어도 소득의 20%에서 30%는 예금이나 적금을 드는 게 좋다고 합니다. So some people also opt for an investment strategy called 풍차 돌리기 or saving wheel, where they open 1-year fixed deposits or savings accounts monthly to accumulate funds. So most people if you you're into reading a lot of these get rich books, self-help books, or if you watch a lot of YouTube videos, they say that, they got to where they are through a combination of various things, but they usually include hard work and smart savings. And then, you have your investment decisions after that. So I guess, in light of World Savings Day, if you are kind of, really thinking about what can I do to save money, or maybe what can I do to invest? I don't want to give you options. You're not tuning in to hear financial, options or advice from somebody like me. 저는 저축하고 싶어요. 전 저축하고 싶습니다. Maybe later, if I have the 여유, if I have the opportunity, maybe even investing, right? But I'm in a current situation where I can do a little bit of the first, but still a long ways to go to do investing. So maybe for some of our listeners, I want to hear from you. Are you partaking in any kind of investments, or maybe investments that you're interested in? 여러분은 주로 어떤 재테크를 하십니까? or 관심이 있습니까? Is it savings, 저축? Is it real estate? 부동산, there's a lot of focus on there. 요즘 주식도 많이 하죠. Stocks, right? Or 중고거래, I guess, secondhand trading, basically selling and buying of used things. Or 요즘 저도 여기에 많이 관심이 있어요, right? 신발 resale, shoe reselling, right? Because I know other than other pieces of clothing that we usually wear, shoes is a roller coaster in terms of the value of it. Not just new ones, even like old shoes, because, 유행은 항상 돌아오는 거잖아요. You know how trends, they come full circle and it becomes trendy again. A lot of shoes from a long time ago are very trendy now, and people see money in this. So I'm really curious as to some of our listeners, what kind of jet tech, what kind of investments or savings do you partake in? Let us know, pound 9050, shop 9050 will cost you 100 won. You can let us know on our Kakao Talk, or you could chat with us on our YouTube. I also want to let our listeners know today is a rather very different Inside Out Busan. We're only going to have our number one of our show, because in the second hour, BFM is actually going to be rebroadcasting a very special radio documentary titled Good English, Bad English, Weird English, a special report on English discrimination. So at 7 o'clock, we'll be rebroadcasting this very special radio documentary. So that's why you only have me for 1 hour. But we do have to get through what we have in store for that 1 hour, starting with News Bites. News Bites. We have BFM newscaster Annie with us here in the studio. Hello, Annie.
Hi.
Hi. How are we doing today?
Pretty good.
Good to hear. Annie, do you partake in any kind of savings or any investments? Is this TMI? Is this a little too personal? But actually,
I'm an
people,
open book.
People are actually very open about these kinds of things.
I actually stupidly spent my early 20s just recklessly spending. I had a fair amount of 퇴직금 that I just, did not save at all.
I see.
But I started saving, I'd say maybe last year, this year.
Okay.
So there's not a lot there, but I do a lot of 적금.
Yeah.
I want to invest, but I don't want to make a mistake.
Yeah.
My husband's very knowledgeable on stocks and stuff, so
Okay.
I'm hoping he'll teach me.
둘 중에 한 명이 그쪽으로 관심이 있는 게 I think 좋은 것 같아요.
Yeah.
One of the two having interest and knowledge in it, it kind of gives you more options.
Right. Well,
for
I
me-
do this, and he's a financial advisor and stuff. So
Well, there you go.
He knows
There
all
you
that
go.
stuff.
Oh, let me get his number. No, see, for us, for me, my wife. None of us, I mean, neither of us have any knowledge or interest in that, right? So we do
Invest in
try to
shoes.
save. Well, minus the shoes, but that's kind of like a solo thing for me. But we try to save, but then having a kid,
Yeah,
it's not the
I
easiest
bet.
thing to do, right?
And speaking of shoes, though, the other day I was looking at a pair of shoes that I was like, oh, these are really cute.
Yeah.
At the time I looked at it, it was 25만 원.
Yeah.
And then I was showing Stephanie here at the station, and it jumped up to 100만 원.
Yes.
So,
There you go.
investments.
Like I said, when it comes to compared to other clothing items, shoes are a roller coaster. Their prices
crazy.
skyrocket and they dip so much. It's like kind of like stocks, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to shoes. So
Shocked.
interesting. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us a little bit of what you partake in. So let's get to today's news bites. What do you got for us?
Right. First, I talked about the budget speech yesterday.
Yes.
So at the government budget speech that took place today at the National Assembly's plenary session, President Yoon Suk-yeol stated that the government's fiscal management stance is to avoid handing over debts that are difficult to handle to the future generations. He added that the International Monetary Fund, or IMF, recently praised South Korea's sound financial stance and budgeting, saying it is going in the right direction. And he stressed that the more the economy is struggling, the more the government should support the working class, the more vulnerable, and the socially disadvantaged. So in detail, he listed a couple things. So first, 1.5 trillion won in additional living benefits to 1.23 million basic households. Also, additional child support to 32,000 people by easing single-parent family income standards. He also said up to 600,000 won in new educational activities per year to 60,000 children from multicultural families. Lastly, he mentioned an average 8% increase in scholarships for 670,000 low-income college students for next year.
Okay, so a lot of good things that me as a citizen would want to hear. Our economy is going in the right direction in terms of finances, and a lot of support given to people that most need it. But I'm also interested in the meeting between the two leaders that we talked about yesterday, right? President
Right.
Yoon and Lee Jae-myung. So how did the pre-budget speech meeting between the top leaders go?
Well, it was held behind closed doors, so we don't know the exact details what was said. When Yoon did greet DP leader Lee Jae-myung, saying it was nice to see him after a long time, Lee was said to have just smiled in response. No, nothing said.
okay.
Don't know what that says. At the opening of the budget speech, President Yoon began by saying, "Respected citizens, National Assembly Speaker Kim Jin-pyo, Vice Chairman Kim Young-ju, Jung Woo-taek, and Lee Jae-myung, the leader of the Democratic Party," and he listed a few others. Usually, presidents begin listing the ruling party names and then the opposition names. But he did the opposite, which kind of broke this convention. And in contrast, actually, to his going towards them. Some of the DP party members were said to have fairly, I'll say, neutral responses to his speech. So they didn't clap. They had quite stoic facial expressions.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear stuff like this. So I would love, not just details on what came out during the speech and what our country could look forward to, but analysis of body language, right? What did this facial expression, what did the smiling of, President Yoon's greeting to Lee Jae-myung mean?
Right.
So I would love to read up on a report, something like
interesting.
this. Yeah, but that's what it is. The budget speech that was given by President Yoon. Thank you so much for the details. What's next?
Right, I have two short ones, but first, the PPP, or People Power Party, have begun pushing to incorporate Gimpo and some smaller cities into Seoul, which aims to boost the party's chances in next year's general elections, or so some say. The party's floor leader, Yoon Jae-wook, said the party is considering enacting a special law on the issue. And then PPP leader Kim Gi-yeon also added that this move would be beneficial to the development of Gimpo as well as the northwestern parts of Seoul. And Gimpo city government has also expressed the desire to be a part of Seoul rather than a part of Gyeonggi province.
Okay.
And Gyeonggi province is actually looking to divide into North and South Gyeonggi. And lastly, the party stressed that the decision will mostly lie on whether the residents agree on it.
Okay.
They will not decide on it.
Yeah. I can see a lot of more benefits if Gimpo were to be incorporated into
It
Seoul.
basically is in my brain.
Yeah, I mean, me too, because I don't want to, talk down about, the city or the region because, there might be people from there
course.
Listening in. But I always assumed, Gimpo was more of a district kind of.
My brain just works in airports.
Exactly.
Gimpo is just in Seoul in my brain.
Exactly. So I always thought that as Seoul's airport. You know what I
Right.
mean? But that's interesting. Basically Seoul kind of engulfing another city,
just
becoming
growing.
even bigger. All right, what's next?
A bit of weird news, I guess. So two police officers working the Defense Ministry entrance security were stabbed today when a 77-year-old man pulled a knife out of his bag.
Goodness.
So this individual was shouting quite loudly outside the presidential office and the defense ministry. They're both next to each other. To which these police officers tried to get the situation under control. He then pulled the knife out and stabbed one officer in the abdomen and the other in the left arm. They were taken to the hospital immediately, of course. And the police arrested him on charges of obstructing the execution of special official duties. And of course, they will conduct further investigations, and they are looking to request an arrest warrant on him as well.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just very concerning to me. Anything, any type of these incidents with a knife involved,
So scary.
I feel like I see one. I read up on one or see, stories on social media every week, it seems like. So, yeah, this is something that I think needs to be put out there to report on so that people are more in the know of it, so that being reminded that this is going on can do something about preventing more of these from happening. But
Definitely.
yeah, good to be in the know. We have time for one more bit of news.
Right, I thought we'd go over to Hong Kong. So
Okay.
a Hong Kong court has dropped charges against an American politician, that is Washington State Senator Jeff Wilson, who turned himself into customs authorities after bringing a gun into the city's airport in what he called an honest mistake. He apparently went to go reach for gum in his bag and felt a gun, and his heart sank.
Wait, did he mistake gum for gun?
That's what I was like. They're very similar words.
Yeah.
He appeared at the West Kowloon Magistrates Court on Monday local time, and he was acquitted of the possession of arms without a license. So instead of this, he was given a 24-month bind-over, which means that he's not allowed to have any firearms for 24 months. And the charge was withdrawn, and the defendant agreed to a good behavior order. So his firearm was also, of course, confiscated.
Okay. I don't think it's like the easiest thing to do to mix up or forget that you had a gun on you, right?
Right. Or in
While
your bag.
traveling in your bag, unless somebody else packed it, but that's a whole nother story. But to me, it kind of feels like he got away a little easy.
They're so notorious for being really strict on these laws.
Yeah.
But both prosecution and defense lawyers argued that this was quite a special case, citing that he self-declared at the Hong Kong Customs, and he admitted to possessing a firearm by mistake during the questioning. But the magistrate did, however, add that he believed the senator should have known Chinese and Hong Kong laws are very strict, especially
Yeah.
because he travels there quite often.
Can you imagine, like, when they opened his bag? How did that get there?
I'm just
right?
walking up, I have a gun.
Oh, exactly, right? Very interesting how this story had unfolded.
Right.
It sounds like, they are taking it as an honest mistake.
I'm glad it worked out. Everyone was safe. No one
Yeah,
was injured.
yeah. But so listeners, I guess a lesson we could take from this: always double check. When
Yeah.
it comes to your bags.
Don't pick
right?
knives or anything.
Yes,
Careful.
indeed. That'll be it for today's News Bites. Annie, thank you so much. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Okay.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.
비틀비틀 걸어가는 나의 다리 오늘도 의미 없는 또 하루가 흘러가죠 사랑도 끼리끼리 하는 거라 믿는 나는 좀처럼 두근두근 거릴 일이 저녁 중 윙윙 하루살이도 저량은 나를 비웃듯이 멀리 날아가죠 빙빙 돌아가는 세상도 나를 비웃듯이 계속 꿈틀대죠 Tell me, please don't tell 차라리 듣지 못한 편이 내겐 좋을 거야 Tell me, please don't tell 차라리 보지 못한 편이 내겐 좋을 거야 사람들 북적대는 출근길의 지하철은 좀처럼 가득 찍고 타볼 일이 저녁중 집에서 뒹굴뒹굴 할 일 없어 빈둥대는 내 모습 너무 초라해서 정말 죄송하죠 하루살이도 저량은 나를 비웃듯이 멀리 날아가죠 돌아가는 세상도 나를 비웃듯이 계속 꿈틀대죠. 칼바람도 상처난 내 마음을 어쩌지는 못할 거야. 뚝뚝 떨어지는 눈물이 언젠가는 이 세상을 덮을 거야. 차라리 듣지 못한 편이 내겐 좋을 거야. 차라리 보지 못한 편이 내겐 좋을 거야. 차라리 느껴보지 못한 편이 좋을 거야. 차라리 살아보지 못한 편이 좋을 거야. 비틀비틀 걸어가는 나의 다리 오늘도 의미 없는 또 하루가 흘러가죠. 사랑도 끼리끼리 하는 거라 믿는 나는 좀처럼 두근두근 거릴 일이 저녁쯤. 하루살이도 저량은 나를 비웃듯이 멀리 날아가죠. 빙빙 돌아가는 세상도 나를 비웃듯이 계속 꿈틀대죠.
And that was Hyogo with Wing, Wing. Hopefully you enjoyed that track. The time is now 6:33 here in the studio. Welcome, everybody. This is Inside of Busan, and I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. Let's see what the weather and traffic is looking like here in Busan. Currently, 19 degrees our city is averaging. Today was pretty warm, right? Tomorrow, 15 degrees, a morning low and afternoon high of 24. So with temperature staying way above the norms right now, Busan will see a warm 24 degrees tomorrow afternoon, similar to today. So enjoy the warmth while you can, because I already hear people complaining, oh, it's too cold. It's too cold now. How are you going to handle the winter, right? 그래서 지금 따뜻할 때 let's just enjoy it while we can. 부산은 예년에 비해 따뜻한 편이어서 완연한 가을을 즐기시기 좋겠습니다. When it comes to our traffic, we have congestion on 중앙대로 from Yeongju Junction going towards Choryang Junction. There's also congestion on the Nam Express from former Seobusan tollgate towards Nakdongdaegyo. Slow-moving traffic on Yeonsudo from Shinli three-way intersection going towards the Mangmi Pass. And unfortunately, a report of an accident, a two-car collision on Jeongwan Sanuplo from Cheolma interchange going towards Haedongdong. That happened on the first lane past Cheolma interchange. Everybody, drive safe, okay? So today, October 31st, is not only Halloween, but it's also World Savings Day. Do you partake in savings? Like I said, I wish I can save, right? Those that save and invest, oh, how jealous I am of you. 너무 부럽습니다. So I wanted to ask you what kind of savings or investments that you're partaking in. We have 일요의 충주선님 on our YouTube saying my savings are pretty empty. What should I do? Well, 일요의 충주선님, what should you do? What should I do? I'm in the same situation as you, right? It's tough to save. It's tough to save these days. But yeah, I mean, there are options, but I will not give them to you because I don't want to sound like I'm giving advice, any financial advice on this show, because I can't. I mean, I think one, I'm not allowed to, and two, I don't have any advice to give because I'm not following my own advice. That means, okay. You say Bitcoin? No comment on Bitcoin, and that says a lot, right? We have HK님 saying absolutely saving, right? HK님, being so young, right? I think you are partaking in a very good habit, a very good practice of saving, just at your age right now. This is the Ajay-me coming out again. We have Toki님 saying, 힘내요, 충전소님. So a little bit of side talk going on our YouTube. In my case, I can't buy a house right now, but I like checking real estate prices. Oh, Toki님. You know what? I guess a little bit of inspiration for you. I did a lot of that before we took the huge dive, but then we ended up, having our own home. So never say never, right? It could be looking at housing prices one day and then paying that house price another, right? So hopefully a little bit of inspiration for you. Keep those messages coming in. Let's get to today's IOB 5분 상식. Time for today's 5분 상식. Look, we have here in the studio
Hello,
Miss
it's
TMI.
me.
Hi, Hailey. So we're gonna help me out today with the 5분 상식. So today we're gonna get our listeners in the know, some of the most trending, useful, need to know information as well as expressions. 5분만 들으면 휴식하는 시간인데요. 할로윈을 맞아 경찰 유사 제복을 코스튬으로 입어도 될까요? 이거에 대한 궁금증을 풀어보도록 하겠습니다.
I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie
Oh, Hailey, look what I found. This police uniform is going to be perfect for my Halloween costume. Oh, it'd be so cool, don't you think?
For real? Seriously?
Oh,
진짜?
oh,
찐으로?
why not?
I heard there's a fine for wearing that. How about we change up your costume? Something like a ghost. You have a white sheet we can just throw over you, cover your face. A pumpkin, 호박, fits right in with the theme.
Okay.
Zombie, a wizard.
Oh, okay.
I have a wand.
Oh, I mean, that's so good, but it's so boring. You see that a lot. Come on, it's Halloween. I want to stand out.
Ooh, you don't want to stand out too much. You
What?
might have to, you might get into trouble. So let's just stick to the typical costumes. Hey, how about a friend's costume? I'll be Salt, you be Pepper.
재밌어,
Cute,
재밌어. 같이 안 할래요.
cute.
재미없어. I'm gonna go with the cop uniform. It's gonna be epic. I'm gonna be like this hero or something.
Okay, I don't want to be the party pooper, but I heard this year's Halloween party, it's focused on safety. So wearing a police officer's costume, it might confuse people, what if there's an emergency?
But if I wear a uniform, it gives people a peace of mind. They might feel secure just by seeing me, right? And come on, this costume I snagged is seriously one of a kind. It's the police officer outfit, but get this. It's from the Joseon dynasty. 나 조선시대 경찰이라고.
포졸? Oh, then maybe that's not problematic? I don't know. But they had police back in Joseon? 진짜?
Yeah. Okay. 다그다. 포도대장 출동이요. See, I do that pretty well, no? 아니야? No?
Now the Monster Mash. And it's a graveyard smash.
와, 친구를 진짜 서포트 안 해주네요.
Well, I'm trying
Hailey.
to keep you out of jail. It's pretty good support, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see why this will land me in jail. So, I'm sure a lot of us have been reminded today, being the 1-year anniversary of the tragedy that took place, right? The incident at Itaewon. And there were a lot of criticisms leading up to this Halloween that things like police costumes, right? There might be a lot of people that might be, partaking in wearing a police uniform as a costume, but with so much effort, right, into making sure safety is a priority during Halloween, a lot of people, especially the government and the authorities, have put down some, statements in regards to wearing police-like uniform as a costume during Halloween. So fill us in on that.
Right. So actually, it's not just a statement, it's the law. So wearing a police uniform or a uniform that looks like a police uniform for a Halloween costume, it is actually against the law because it is illegal for civilians to wear police uniforms or similar attire. Even if it's clearly a costume, you're not looking to impersonate a police officer, it can still confuse people, especially at night. There was criticism that, during the crowd crush, a lot of people didn't listen to actual police officers because they thought they were people in uniform, fellow partygoers. So that includes police-like uniforms like shirts, the blue shirts, pants, hats, and shoes. Violating the rules can lead to 6 months in prison or a fine of up to 3 million won.
Yeah.
And sellers, the punishment is actually harsher. You could face up to 1 year in prison or a fine of up to 10 million won.
Yeah. I think in my opinion also, people that provide the opportunity to do something like this, enablers should be even, given harsher punishments.
They should know better.
So I guess do you have details on what exactly includes a police or police-like uniform? 경찰 제복 어디까지 포함하는 걸까요?
Right, so it's not only attire worn at typical police stations by police officers, constable patrol units, police boxes, and special uniforms for tourist police and even mounties, as we casually call them, on horseback.
Yeah.
네, 경찰 제복은요, 지구대나 파출소 같이 우리가 일반적으로 생각하는 경찰 제복뿐만 아니라 관광 경찰이나 기마 경찰관까지 특수 복식도 포함한다고 하니까 주의하셔야 될 것 같아요.
네.
So once again, even ones that are similar, that are kind of police officer-esque, they can cause confusion because it's all about public safety.
Yeah.
By the way, it's only illegal to dress up like the police, but also firefighters on fire stations have asked the public to not dress up like firefighters because same reason we want those in law enforcement and safety authorities to stand out.
맞아요.
Right.
맞아요. So things to keep in mind, I think, people should be even considering things like this, on your way out to maybe, I don't know, an event or party, whatever. Yeah, this is definitely because I feel like, being today of all days, I think a lot of, if anything were to happen, it took place over the weekend.
Right.
But still, we still have time today. So good to know. Good things to keep in mind for this Halloween. 네, 할로윈 때 코스튬으로 경찰 제복과 유사한 복장을 착용하거나 경찰 장비를 소지하는 것은 불법입니다. 오늘의 5분 상식이었습니다. 김대리, 퇴근하나?
예, 부장님.
집이 교회종이지? 같은 방향인데 같이 가지? 요즘 회사 생활 어떤가?
예, 저 열심히 잘하고 있습니다.
결혼 생활도 재밌지?
예, 뭐 즐겁죠, 예. 그 라디오라도 좀.
그래, 라디오.
네가 저번 주에 온 신참인 것 같네.
22번 홀리면
진짜 회사 생활 쉽지 않다. 어색한 이 순간 인사이드 아웃 부산과 함께하세요. 오늘은
TMI Busan.
Miss TMI with us here in the studio. Hailey for today's TMI Busan. How are we doing today?
Pretty good. Yeah.
Good to hear. We had a couple messages come in. 유아 충주선님 saying, hello, Hailey.
Hello.
네. 토끼님 saying, 민수님에게는 헤일리님 같은 똑순이 친구가 필요한 듯해요.
Toksuni, that used to be my nickname when I was young.
What does 똑순이 mean?
Toksuni is smarty pants.
Oh. 똑순이.
Look at your face. He is, listeners, he is not happy about this.
헤일리님 똑순이 맞아요, right? But smarty pants, like, yeah, you need one in your group. But smarty pants is like, yeah, she's right, but I hate the fact that she's right. 헤일리는 그런 분이죠.
You sound like every single one of my friends.
Hailey, that means we're friends.
That's true.
친구입니다.
Yes.
All right, let's get to today's TMI. What do you got for us?
All right. This is a topic that interests a lot of us. I just used mine today. 동백전.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. So this is especially pertinent, sensitive, and an issue of interest because unfortunately, the central government has slashed the budget for basically all local currency across the country.
Yeah.
But Busan City is keeping firm because we know how much 동백전 helps us, the consumers, but also local businesses.
네.
So they're planning to maintain the 5% cashback rate next year as well. However, that also means that cashback will be kept at 5% across the board. Currently, until this year, you get 7% in certain smaller businesses based on their annual sales.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we won't get that nice 2% boost. But you know what? 5%, better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Better than nothing. That's my mindset with this.
Exactly. So the city says, if necessary, it's going to put in the city's budget to keep the 5% cashback. For reference, this year, Busan City spent 80 billion won of its budget and then receive 23 billion won from the central government to keep the Dongbekjeon going. So the plan is to refuel the popularity of Dongbekjeon next year. So Busan City's local currency is the third most widely used in the country with 1.2 active users. And, I'm one of them. But that figure has been going down kind of consistently because, number one, the cashback rate has declined.
Yeah.
Number two, I believe we're on either the third or the fourth operator, the operating bank for the Dongbekjeon, which means we have had to have 3 different cards at this point. But BNK Busan Bank is going to, at least for the foreseeable future, solidly be running the card. So hopefully next year will be the year for Dongbekjeon.
Yeah, and it's a good sign because, it's a good sign, good as in the popularity is ensured of the service, because if every year towards especially the end of the year, they're going to have to think about, cutting the cashback just so that they can keep up with people using it. But that also means when, like you mentioned, the continuous decline of cashback rates, changing of the service providers, this is going to not make things so comfortable for the users. So I'm sure, once BNK comes, being a local bank and everything, more stability, if that's ensured, I'm sure, you're probably going to see like a bump in the numbers of users of Dongbekjeon. So the latest in terms of the cashback rate for the Dongbekjeon card. Thank you so much for that. What's next?
All right, next is a visa issue, a visa story. Busan City is supporting the visa switch for skilled foreign migrant workers to be able to get long-term work permits.
Okay.
And as someone who has been through the visa issue in the States, so complicated, very convoluted. So any, news about permanent working conditions, it's great. So the city is looking for applicants who want to switch their current visas to the E74 visa, which is for skilled specialized workers under the K point system, the visa point system. So this is for people who work in menial labor under the visas E9 or E10 or H2 who have accumulated years of experience to be able to switch their visas to one that would allow them prolonged, more at least semi-permanent employment.
Yeah.
So this system was created by the Justice Ministry to boost the local economy, because the thing is, I think those of us in Busan are sorely aware of this. With the exodus of younger people, local manufacturing sectors are having a lot of trouble finding people to fill that job.
Yeah.
And thankfully, foreign workers do come in and fill those positions. But if they have visa issues every year, every 2 years, it's really hard to develop that talent and have them be able to add more talents and, work for the stability of the company. So these visas will really help. So the Justice Ministry, number one, expanded the annual quota from the current 5,000 to 35,000 across the country. Huge boost.
Yeah.
And then they've simplified the points criteria and also are allowing metropolitan cities to recommend 5,500 applicants to give 30 bonus points to go towards their point system. So Busan City has a quota of 162 individuals that it can award points to.
Okay, so for those that might fall under this 162, how can they apply?
All right, so you must be qualified for the Justice Ministry's K point system, having worked at a Busan area company for at least a year, and will live in Busan for at least 2 years after your visa switches. So it'll redistribute the recommended quota across different sectors, including construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and fisheries. All of this information is available at www.busan.go.kr. Consult your employers, because they will need to submit documents to sponsor your visa.
So efforts by the city, a local government, to combat, just the outflow of very much needed talent that needs to stay here, right? To help Busan's economy survive, stay relevant, and thrive. But once again, I think it's a great substitute for it. And this is also, I think, can be a big boost to the birth rate that our city is going through, just super aging society and everything, because that also means lack of manpower for industries, right? Good to know. Let's move on to our next bit of news.
All right, coming up, D-, I can't do math, 3 days, I think. Busan Fireworks Festival.
Yeah.
Da-da-da.
네.
Is it 3 days? I don't know. This
If
Saturday.
you exclude today,
Yeah.
D-3.
Sure. November 4th.
I never know how that works out too.
I know, me neither. I usually ask the computer. But anyways, fireworks festival means lots and lots and lots of traffic.
Yes.
So number one, just take public transportation.
Oh, yeah.
But number two, if you do have to drive anywhere in the Haeundae, Gwangalli, or this side of Busan vicinity, expect traffic and expect road closures. Right. So the Busan Culture and Tourism Festival Organizing Committee, or the BFO, announced that it is restricting traffic. Well, of course, on Gwangan Bridge and around Gwangalli for the festival. So are you ready? Grab a pen, write this down. First, on the bridge, the bottom part of Gwangan Bridge, so that would be from Namcheondong to Haeundae, will be shut down entirely from 7:30 p.m. on Saturday to midnight. Keep that in mind. The top part where the fireworks will actually be, shooting off from, they'll close earlier from 4:30 p.m. until midnight. Once again, that's Saturday. Also, the lanes will be partially closed throughout this week to set up for fireworks. So if that includes your commuting time, factor that, or maybe detour. Yeah, and then the other roads, this is once again for Saturday evening, Gwangan Haebyeonro between the Eonyang Bulgogi three-way intersection to Mannamme Gwangjang.
네.
That'll be closed from 10 a.m. until the end of the festival.
네.
So just don't even try to go there via your vehicles.
Don't even try.
Don't even try. Just shut that down.
네.
Parts of Hwangryongsanro, because we all know Mount Hwangryong, very popular place to
네.
look at the festival.
Yes.
It'll be closed from 3 p.m. and parts of Haebyeonro and the street behind Haebyeonro will be closed off from 4 p.m. So once again, if you're going near Gwangalli, just don't take your car. And then Marine City Illo, Marine City Road number 1, and the road that goes around Hwangryongsan Mountain will be closed from 5 p.m.
네.
And there are a couple other traffic closures and detours. So for the full list and a nice little map, go to bfo.or.kr or Busan City's Instagram site.
Oh, okay. So me, listening to all that, I've come to the conclusion I'm going to stay home.
You know where you can watch the fireworks?
Because I was going to ask you, because me living in Gwangalli, that kind of does give me the option just kind of walk out and still be with the crowd.
Oh,
and
plan
watch.
change. I'm going to hang out at Minsu's house. I'm inviting myself.
안 돼요.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing. Where are you going to be watching it from?
On the television.
그렇죠.
Yeah.
네. 튜브로 봐야죠.
Actually, last year I was coming from Changsan. I hung out with friends at Changsan, and I was coming back on the subway right during the fireworks festival time. The subway was nice and empty because everybody was
Everybody's there.
already at the
Yeah,
beach. But everyone was on their phone watching it on the tube. And by the way, it is streamed live online. So if you're like anti-crowds, like myself, I'm a bit of a hermit. A little bit.
Let me tell you my story real quick.
Oh,
This
yeah?
was 2018 fireworks festival. We couldn't go. Obviously, we know it was going to be packed. And, my family from the U.S., my uncle's side, all came. It was like, all right, and we have our TV screens, pretty big. And it was like, let's just watch it on TV. So I was in charge of turning it on. It's a smart TV, so I went out on the NoTube app and put it in, and we started watching it. And then it was like halfway or 3/4 into the broadcast we were watching last year's fireworks festival. 저 작년 2017년도인가 18년 거를 틀었어요.
Oh no.
I got 혼내ed a lot that night. 완전 혼났고요.
See, I would have just pretended it's this year. Just keep going.
But see, I pressed the remote and the title of the video came up on
it's
TV.
2017 Busan. Oh no.
And everybody turned back to look at me. Right?
We trusted you.
Yeah. Well, that'll be it for today's TMI. Hailey, thank you so much for all the
you.
information. We'll see you back here next week. And listeners, that will do it actually for Inside of Busan for today. Like I mentioned, it's a 1-hour show. Coming up at 7 o'clock will be the rebroadcast of the special radio documentary titled Good English, Bad English, Weird English, a special report on English discrimination. Sounds very interesting. It'll also be broadcast on YouTube as well. And that'll be it. Hailey, you want to say goodnight to everybody?
Yeah, I just want to throw it out there. We have some people at the station who worked really hard on that documentary. It is a very, very high quality, very interesting and entertaining. Try to say interesting and entertaining at the same time. So speaking of bad English, Yeah, so go check that out.
Sounds like somebody worked on it and wants people to
I
recognize.
didn't actually.
Oh,
I'm
그래요?
just a good friend.
Oh, 좋네요. Hailey, thank you so much, and thank you to all of our listeners. Inside of Busan was written by Im Soo-jin, produced and hosted by yours truly, Mrs. Shin. See, I need to watch this documentary, right? Because I have bad English.
Yeah, me both.
To take us out, this is Big Naughty and 10cm with 정이라고 하자. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
내가 널 보지 못했다면 어땠을까 해 왠지 외로워지는 밤엔 You say 흐린 추억 속에 내게 안겨 잠드네 Yeah, 친구들과의 술자리 나는 또 네 얘기 꺼내보고 싶다는 넋두리에 친구를 다 뻔뻔해 10년도 더 돼 내를 사랑할 수 있니 이제 그만이지래 근데 그게 잘 안 돼 그래 긴 말 맞잖아 넌 하던 사고에서 두 번 난 신을 안 믿으니까 네 전화 바로 픽업 지금 주소 찍어 어디든 상관없어 다 갈 테니까 Run 정이라고 하자 만일가 몰라라 이건 사랑이 맞아 분명 약속했단 말야 I know I'm wrong 그 자리에 그대로 뜨거운 기억들을 더듬고 있을 때면 I say 그건 사랑이 아냐 그건 미련이 아냐 그냥 정리하고 가자 아메리카노보단 라떼를 맛있게 내리던 네 집 앞 카페를 매일 같이 갔었던 그때를
시청역이 도보 2분의 차